Today, we're going to talk about the way that I look at mindset and resilience. So here's the big thing. Our mindset is included within who we are and our identity. Now, I'm going to extract for you guys something that I talk and walk through called the Slower Go Identity Grid. And the Slower Go Grid is going to let you see in a simple way, like where you stand right now. Some of you might have heard it before. Maybe you've taken the quiz. Maybe you've not. And hopefully you haven't all heard of it, because that'd be kind of like, oh, I'm going to do the same thing. But I promise, even if you have, I'll give you a little bit more depth to it. So here's what I want you to grasp. We all have the clear understanding of what a mindset is. However, sometimes we may not understand the inner workings of it or who we are with it. And so we're going to break this down today. I'm going to show you how you are essentially one of 4 different kinds of identities harboring certain mindsets. Now, as I tell you this, I want you to grasp, it doesn't really mean that if you see one that's like not perfect, you say like, oh, it sounds like me. It's not the end of the world. That's the beautiful part about who we are. We can always adjust and grow and change, right? We have neuroplasticity in our brains. We can learn new things. Yes, you can teach an old dog new tricks, no matter what they say. There's a Netflix show I saw about it, just so you know, like really, you can actually teach an old dog new tricks. But we're going to actually teach you guys some cool things. So let's get into this without me talking about it all day. We're going to go over this. Now, in our lives, we always have these different aspects of opportunity and opposition. And to be quite honest, they have this intersection point. They always meet each other if you think about it. There's always this opportunity of something. There's always like but it ain't perfect, right? And I find that as we go through things, we're always trying to figure out like, okay, where do we stand? What do we do? And how do we make the next moments of our lives better? However, how we show up in those moments, those defining moments, those will determine how the next moments are better or not. And so now I'm going to talk you through 4 different types of mental framings and identities that have mindsets to them, right? Of how I think. And I want you to figure out which one you are. So the first one we're going to talk about is a dreamer. Now, think about opportunity and opposition. Now, if I'm a person that when opportunity comes to pass and I sit there and I look at it and I go, oh, it'd be amazing to chase the opportunity, but I go, oh, I don't know if I should, and maybe I can, and I stew on it for too long. What happens to opportunity? It leaves. When I was in college, my college coach, he says, hey, if our opportunity comes knocking at your door, you better open the door, pull him inside, sit him down, get him dinner, make him stay a while. Because if he leaves, we don't know when he's coming back around again. And so the idea is like when opportunity comes, how do you handle it? And some people, we get so apprehensive, we get so processing, we get to the point of just paralyzation by overanalyzation that we don't take opportunity and actually capitalize on it. And at the same time, these same people, they're not really good in opposition. Like when something pops up and rears its head, we question ourselves. My mindset goes, I don't know if I can, if I'm capable, if I'm smart enough. And so what ends up happening is I go, oh, I don't know. And then I end up moving myself back. I find ways to reverse my path. I will make excuses. I will procrastinate. I'll call myself a perfectionist. I'll say, I'm a perfectionist. No, you're just scared of putting it out there. Let's be honest, right? There's this aspect of like the opposition. It makes me feel scared. So what do? I'm always telling people about my dreams. I'm dreaming about this. I'm going to do this. I can do this. I can create this. And an opportunity comes, they go, why didn't you take advantage of it? Oh, well, this happened and I didn't have enough time and I was too busy, or, I didn't know much about it, or you make excuses. And no matter what the excuse, good or bad, it still is an excuse that's stopping you from getting what you want. So that's the first one, a dreamer, someone who doesn't go into the space of taking on opportunity because they're fearful, and those who are not good at tackling opposition. Now, the next person is called a dabbler. A dabbler is someone that says, look, when an opportunity comes up, I'm taking it. Yeah, put me in, coach, buy all the Dogecoin and the different Bitcoin thing. I'm buying all of it. Let me go do it, right? And then maybe it's not that, but maybe it's opportunities that come rise and they go after them full speed. They invest in these things. They buy these things. They go and start these processes. They do stuff, but here's what happens. The moment opposition comes, they shut down. It's too hard. I don't know how to do this. I'm a little bit fearful. I'm scared. And what I do is I pull myself away. I may have started down that path. The moment it got hard, I stopped my progress and I stayed stagnant or went backwards. This happens for a lot of people. They try I want to do live streams and I want to do webinars and I want to write this book. And then I go, it's opportunity to do something. And all of a sudden it gets hard. And I go, oh, I don't want to do this. I pull away. And these are what we call the dabblers or shiny object people. Sound familiar? A little bit, maybe. You might even be able to say, that sounds like me. I try things a lot. I'm excited about new things. And people are like, they're around my life. They'll maybe consistently see I'm always excited about something new. Every week it's something new with you, Karen and Susan and Nick and Sean and Sherry. It's always something new with you. Yeah, it is something new because you're a dabbler. Now, again, not the end of the world, but at least maybe you know who you are. And we'll talk about how to be able to make these shifts quickly in the mindset and the identity. The next one, the defender. Now, they, in the past, have taken some opportunities because we don't take no opportunities, right? We have taken some opportunities. And then what happens is I step forward and I go, look, I'm gonna have some success. I've had some success, and I'm really good at tackling opposition. If it rears its head, I'm shutting it down. I'm gonna knock it out. I got this covered. However, if a new opportunity comes to pass, I'm very, very apprehensive because it could take away from my current success. This is the undefeated boxer. The person who's always had a great business, never lost a client. These people, they will not take opportunity because what if it sullies up what I've got? And so what they do is they live a stagnant, boxed in life. BRENDON would call it partly the caged life, right? Because now what happens is I've had this success and I don't want any of this to go away. So I don't want anything to come in and possibly mess this up or make me look bad. So I don't want to be embarrassed. So I don't take advantage of new opportunities. But if you, lo and behold, if you ever decide to take away what I already got, I'm fighting you for it. Don't you dare say I'm not this or not this or not this. I'll fight to hold my space, but I won't fight for more, right? There's a difference, there's a separation. And so that's a defender. They hold their ground, they stay their pace, and they watch life, unfortunately, pass them by. And it sucks. I know people like this. They're like, no, I got this. I don't want to do anything. I'm like, oh, but you could have done this, and I'm happy. Yeah, but there's always a level of happy above the level you're at now if you choose to seek opportunities. Now, the fourth one, which is the one that I have a belief that a fair majority of you 100% have to have a piece of at times. And just keep in mind, we have multiple identities and mindsets that sit in different spaces. So if you happen to be one of these, you can be like, hey, I'm a dabbler. You may not be a dabbler everywhere. You might be a dabbler in work. You might be a defender in relationship. I would hope that you are, because a defender in relationship means you're great in the one you're at. You don't want to seek more opportunities. You know what I mean? Like that's not a good thing. Don't do that. But you might also be a dreamer in the aspect of hobbies. Like, I want to go be a skydiving coach. No, I don't. But that could be a dreaming idea, right? You see what I'm saying? Multiple identities. So I believe in your personal growth, a lot of you guys fit into this space right here. It's called a doer. So a doer is someone that says, look, I love opportunity. I seek it out. I want to find out what's new. I want to read the books. I want to get into the programs. I want to join GrowthDay. I want to do it all. I want to try it all. And here's why. Because you know that if you chase down an opportunity, inevitably there will be opposition. But within the opposition, you have the ability, and you know you'll take it on. You'll go fight hard. So you're like, I'm taking it on because I know if I go in this opportunity, I'm going to keep going because I handle opposition well. And then you know that if you face opposition, it's okay, because here's the truth. What high performers and growth dayers, I know you guys know this. If you are a person that can handle opposition, you know that opposition, when overcome, creates new opportunities. Every time. I don't care who you are, but if you have a problem and you solve it, you have a new set of tools, which means a new opportunity has placed itself in your life. It's literally how it all, I tell people that when you're in the realm of like what I do, coaching, my job is to create new problems for you. What do you mean, Anthony? Well, if I solve the problem and help you be happier, more joyous, maybe make some more money, well, now you have a new problem of, okay, what do I do with my taxes? What do I buy? What do I invest? You know what I'm saying? It is new problems. Interesting way to look at it. But those who are doers, they will go after opportunity or go after opposition because they know it actually benefits synergistically. Now, there's different levels of doers. In my experience, we don't like hanging out with dreamers. I don't want to know what you're going to do. I want to know what you've done. And it's not a bad thing at the end of the world, but just be aware of this, right? Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Hey. I got a little clapping. Hey. Who in here has ever had an issue with boundaries? Any of you ever do that? Yeah, me too. Here's how it happened. At one point in time, I would have these blocks and segments I had a brick and mortar gym, blocks and segments where I wanted people to come in and do their thing. But when I needed to work, I needed to work. And I was really good at getting the work done if nobody bothered me. And what would happen is people would come up, and in my 2-hour window, I do 2 hours of conversation that I shouldn't have been having. It sound familiar? And the next thing you know, the 2 hours is gone and nothing I wanted to get done got done. And I'm going to walk you through what I call bulletproof boundaries, because we got to have boundaries. And I don't think enough people think this way. So what I'm going to look at is what are the things that become issues in my life, and how can I get to the point of creating boundaries to keep the good things in and the bad things out. It's all about having focus and discipline, right? Well, I can't be focused and disciplined if I have no boundaries. Can't get anything done, right? So I'm focused on how do I look at this aspect of setting a boundary so I can stay disciplined. This is the discipline aspect, bulletproof boundaries. So here's what I do. This is what I call the foundation. The word discipline is interesting. It's like actually has some ties to disciple and plan. So discipline essentially means, am I following disciple the plan? And most of us, we'll do a good job of making that plan, won't we? We'll get vision boards, get the plan. I got a plan over here. I got this whole structure right. And then I get down, I say, okay, from 9 to 10 a.m., I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do this thing in preparation. And then all of a sudden what happens is I don't do it. And usually the reason I don't do it is because I didn't anchor down the foundation, I call it, of why it's got to get done. It's a nice to do, but we don't make it a need to do. And so what I do with people, and I tell you in the very beginning, is like, you got to get to a point where you sit down and say, look, why am I doing this? Like, why does it got to get done right now at this time? Because if not, then it's like, you know what? I can do that tomorrow. I saw this new show popped up on Netflix, and maybe I'll go watch that. And I heard about this cool documentary, or I start scrolling through social media, right? And so what happens is we didn't put a foundation as why in the world must this get done right now? Then what I do, I teach people you got to put in what I call parameters. Now, think of it like this. If I'm on a road and I'm driving somewhere, the parameters are the lines of the road. Now, a lot of people don't set the lines of the road. What can I go into and go out of? Now, if you think about it, it's not fun to work towards a goal and be so militant and rigid that you hate the process of actually going down the path towards the goal. You know what I mean? Like it's like I want to achieve it, but I don't want to achieve it and like have to like not enjoy my life. Like I want to smell the roses. I want to go have a beer, hang out with the girls, take a trip, catch a movie if I want to. It's just I want to be able to enjoy it. So what I tell people is you actually have to set parameters that feel good to you. Not what somebody says, not what you read on the internet, not what your idol and hero person said. What feel like good parameters to you, right? So just so you know, my parameters for life are after about the time of 3:34. Like, don't message me because I'm probably not going to message you back. I'm a family guy. I am in what I call season of dad right now. So I got a 16-year-old, I got 11-year-old twins, and I got a wife, and we have a family, and I love my family, and that's the core of my humanity. And so whenever I look at my parameters, like I know what I'm doing and why. So, but at the same time, like I may not work at the level of somebody who's like, you know what, I work, I get up at 6 and I'm working until like, 10, and then I'm going straight till 8 p.m. That's great. It's just not going to work for me. And I'm not going to feel bad, which you shouldn't feel bad simply because you're not doing what somebody else is doing. So you have to actually set your own parameters of what the parameters are that you will stay in the lanes. I don't go here. I don't go here. I stay straight in this lane. Then we have number 3 is what I call awareness. Now, this is big. Awareness is essentially, as you're going through your life, are you presently aware in the moments of when situations are coming up? So you ever heard of the thing that hindsight's 2020, right? Like, oh man, I wish I would have thought about this back then, right? People don't presently become aware. So the parameters they set, they don't actually look at them. They're just, it's like driving down that road. I have my parameters. And what happens is I'm looking at my radio or I'm texting. And what happens? We do this, we crash. So what I tell people is in the moments of when you're living your life and doing your stuff, the awareness piece is essentially you want to go back and have times or moments where you actually check. This is time audits throughout the day. This is like every once in a while, like set an alarm on your phone. I've done this where I'm like, I set an alarm so it goes off to remind me to check what I'm doing. And I kid you not, it'll catch me in the middle of scrolling through Facebook when I'm supposed to be writing emails. I'm like, okay. So I go and I got a little egg timer. I'm dead serious. I might have showed this in the past. I have like an egg timer that I use specifically for this. It just goes on my desk and I spin it and I put it down and I go, here, all right, this is my thing and my awareness. So what I'm doing is you should be trying to be presently aware of, are you within your parameters? Because when it comes to being disciplined, if you can't stay in that lane, which thing about discipline is staying consistent to the plan over time. If you aren't able to be presently aware, you don't get that thing done. And then you feel crappy because I didn't get that thing done. And then the progress isn't made. And I got to make excuses to other people or to myself. I fall out of integrity internally. I start thinking, man, I don't know if it's for me. I can't even get my stuff done. Right? It's a downward spiral. And all you get to do is not scroll on social media or not go out and hang out, like whatever it might be. Awareness is a big piece. So you have to be aware of what are the things going on. Then comes to a big one. And this is the one that I think we got to spend some time on right now. It's called triggers. Now, in life, there are certain things that are triggers that trigger the awareness. So it's not just a matter of hoping and setting an alarm for it all the time. You can actually have triggers in life that tell you like, hey, what's really going on? Like I got, some idea of like realistically, here's what's going on. And so what you should do in this moment, if you get time or like at some point after this, I want you to sit down and think about in my own life, what are the typical triggers that I experience that throw me off? So we have triggers, things that follow in. So for your own life, as people keep doing this, what you think about is, does your wife come in and bother you? Do your kids come in? Does your phone keep ringing, right? And what you do is you plan in moments where you have to be focused, how to adapt and honestly adjust to the triggers that are constantly popping up in your life. And it's going to be unique to you, obviously, completely unique, right? And so when I have this unique piece, I can actually weave in like, how am I going to do what I got to do in this moment to address the trigger? And the trigger is the thing we're going to talk about. It goes to the last piece, which is called willpower. Now, the willpower is a piece that I think a lot of people really fail in. And this is the one thing that you get this right, it's a game changer. So let's be honest. If you think about it, there's times you meet people or people in your life and, they say, hey, you want to go hang out somewhere, or your husband's like, hey, do you want to go watch a movie? Somebody says, hey, do you want to go do this thing? And because it's a good lead into training people, because in the past, you've always been like, yeah, no, count me in, I'll go do that thing. Right? What they do is they ask you and then you say, no, I can't. So what do they say? Oh, come on. Right? And you go, no, I really can't. Nah, come on. Okay. And then you often go do it. You have now trained them that all they got to do is ask you about 2 times. And sure enough, you're off. Right? So what I found is like, all right, well, how can I manage this and how can I do what's necessary? I must have in the moment willpower. Because what happens is if all of a sudden they ask me one time and I do it, they're going to ask me one time and I'm going to do it. If the next time they ask me and I do it twice, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, cool, they're going to do it. They're going to do the same thing twice. But listen, if I say no and they ask, you sure you want to go? I say no. Come on, you want to go? I say no. Come on, no. All right, he doesn't want to go. They leave me alone. Took them 4 times. My willpower held up. Then for my willpower, I was able to press off and stay disciplined on what I had to get done, right? Then what happens is they come up again. Hey, you want to watch this TV show? No, I can't do it. You want to watch a TV show? No. Okay, whatever. Twice. Ooh, twice, right? Then what happens in the future, if they come ask, hey, do you want to go down and catch the show? I don't want to do it. Okay, off and going. It's easy. But the thing is, a lot of people, they break it far too fast because they don't have a foundation. There's no parameter of what they can and can't do. They're not able to be presently aware of what should take place. They don't have any triggers in place that they've planned for. Because, for example, if you have children, my trigger in my life is like, if they ask a question, I legitimately, the first thing I say is no. Like, hey, Dad, can I? No. Okay, what do you want? So I've already been in the realm of no. And if I want to say yes, I can change it. I quite literally am like, nope. That's my trigger for their asking of questions. Now, obviously, I will say yes. I'm like, what do you want? They just know, but like, I'm already in a space of no. So if it's a no, I'm like, I already said no. And they're like, all right. They move on. They get it, right? But I have a trigger, I have a response, and I know it in advance before I get to it. So for you, your trigger may not be people. It might be the notification on your computer when it pops up. It could be an email that comes in. What is my triggered response to stay disciplined in this bucket of time I have to get something done? And then do I have the willpower to hold the way I got to hold? I'm telling you, the difference between those who are good and great is not the information. It's who's able to do what they have to do with that information. The situation of confidence is an up and down. It's a bubble. It's an up and down bubble. Sometimes it bursts. Sometimes it's big. Sometimes it's small. But the truth of the matter is it's a matter of how you choose to see it in the moments. And if you are more cognitively aware of how your brain processes, I promise you can get better control of it. And you can understand how to control it in a way that allows you to actually utilize it. This is what's called the self-mastery sequence. And this is a sequence of how our brain honestly processes all throughout the day. What I want to do is teach you how, if you see the flow of this, you can actually control it in a way that allows you to have a better base and gauge on moments that are difficult and how you can do the hard things when you need to then spin things up the right way. So at the very top of this is going to be what I call identity anchors. So what this is, I'm a guy that operates an identity. I want to get to the point where the things that are difficult, I do like their second nature. I call it rhythm. Like it's more of like, think about the daily operational rhythm. And I don't mean your routines. I mean the rhythm of how you flow. Now we have a certain level of confidence, but there are certain moments that press and test this confidence. So it becomes difficult for us to press in the next tier, right? So at the very top, what ends up happening is you currently have an identity. If I asked you, hey, who are you? You tell me something. And you go to a part of your brain that says, I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm a parent, I'm a brother, sister, cousin, I'm a manager, I'm a CEO, whatever it is. There's a part of you that says, this is who I am, right? It's built around confidence, usually from your past success. Now, there's also things you don't have confidence in. Part of those anchors may be like, hey, I'm not the greatest reader. I'm not the greatest writer. I'm not the greatest X, Y, or Z. And you've also created an identity around that. You've actually spoken things into existence in ways that probably shouldn't be, because the reality is when you speak something into existence, you will live in a way to make that right. Right. So your identity is what you have in place. Now, this leads to the next piece, which goes to the right. And this is what we call our beliefs. Now, based on your identity, you have certain beliefs that are in line with this, and you operate from them daily without even realizing it. These beliefs were put in place a long time ago. There's a lot of different studies on this, but Eric Erickson has a study and a kind of a structure of the psychosocial aspects. And what he looks at is there's an area between like the age of like 18 to 21 where we have this issue between our role and our identity. It's actually called identity versus role confusion. And what ends up happening is you know who you are, but now your role in society becomes a little bit, kind of distant because you're entering it now as an adult, right? I'm a kid, hang my parents, and all of a sudden I know who I am. Then I'm thrust into this world where like I now have to operate as an autonomous human by myself, and I don't know who I am or where I fit and how this works. And what's crazy is we've already entered that world with certain beliefs based on who we are. Right. So this belief system, if I don't have a belief that I'm capable, that I'm strong, if I kick my kids out of the house at 18 and I haven't helped them have an identity of strong, confident, powerful, whatever it is, they'll go into that world with an identity that's weak and they'll be confused as they look at the world. And the problem is if nobody goes at any point in time and adjusts this or grows, growth day, right? I end up living this cycle the rest of my life. So you got to take a look at what are the beliefs that I have, the belief systems I have in place. And you have to actually take a look at what are they? What do you believe is possible for yourself or impossible for yourself? Now, beliefs go to another piece, which is very interesting. And we have these all the time. These are called our thoughts. And these bad boys run. They're always running. Mine are running right now because I can't see your faces. My thought is like, do they like this? Is this any good? I don't know. I'm talking really loud on my microphone. I hope they like it, right? There's a thought going all the time, right? And you guys have also the same kind of thoughts. There's conscious and subconscious thoughts. And these root from the beliefs. If we have a belief system that's out of whack and not controlled, we'll have thoughts that put us into depression, that put us in anxiety, they just take off and we can't control them. And you just because it's rooted in some belief system that I believe is who I am and I can't adjust it, right? So beliefs go to thoughts. Now thoughts, they create something unique that I wish we could control, but we can't always control it. And this is the area of emotions. Now emotions are very interesting because they happen. Like we have them. My wife has them and I can't control them. If anybody's married, it's hard to control the emotion of other human that's in your house. And I just have to control my emotions when she has her emotions in place doing her thing. And you get that if you're in a relationship or ever have been and you're human, you probably have, but you know what I mean, right? And what happens is unique in the area of when I have these thoughts, they feed and fuel my emotions. For example, if I'm in a situation where somebody cuts me off in a car, right, and I'm just driving, my thought is they don't like me, what bad people, my emotions get enraged and I freak out. These people, how can they cut me off, right? But what if I have a thought in my head that says they might be in a rush to get to somebody who needs help? Different kind of emotion that would come from that thought, right? It's a complete different thing. And so what happens is if we have control of our thoughts a little bit more, we can actually have control of our emotions. Then what happens from the emotions, these emotions lead to our actions. And the actions are interesting. So what happens here is I have found that whenever we have these moments in our life, typically our emotions fuel the actions and actions are driven by the emotional aspect of how we feel in the moment. If I feel amazing, I'll take a bold, powerful, amazing action. If I don't, if I believe I'm not smart and I tell myself I'm not smart, my emotions are like, a little detrimental, like I feel bad. And then I take kind of a halfway action. This happens for us in life consistently. The emotions fuel the actions, and we all live in actions. Like, no matter what it is, you have taken the action to be here right now, to hang out with me and Brendan and the rest of the crew. This is an action for improvement, right? You had an identity that said, look, I know who I am, but I want to be better. I believe I can be better. My thoughts are like, I'm going to go and take an advantage of this opportunity to actually be part of Growth Day. My emotions are like, yeah, I can't wait to get there. The action I took after that was like, let's do it. And I'm here, right? Your outcomes are the results of the actions you took, based on the emotions, from the thoughts, from the beliefs, from the identity, right? And the outcomes could be good, could be bad, no matter what they are the result of the action you took. So if you take a great, amazing, bold action, great, amazing outcome, right? If you take a crappy, halfway action, usually crappy, halfway outcome. So if you're like, I tried to do it, Anthony, I really tried really hard to eat healthy. Well, did you really, right? Because at the end of the day, if you took the action properly, bold, strong, with discipline dialed in, the outcome is you're in better shape. If you kind of little bit do it, and I cheat and I binge eat at 12 o'clock at night, well, the outcome's not going to be what you want it to be. If you kind of read the book, but you don't, really take the action of reading deeply and really understanding it, the outcome is, I don't know the information, right? Maybe you kind of decide to launch your podcast, a little bit of action, or you really do launch that, right? There's a lot of different areas where people don't realize an action has levels. You can boldly go and do that thing at beyond the space of what feels comfortable and have an amazing outcome, or have a halfway outcome. Now, the outcomes lead to something special and unique, which really is unique. It's going to be your environment. This is going to be internal and external. Now, the reason we have both of these because they give us feedback that lead over to our identity. And here's why. Whenever I look at the aspect of like my internal environment, if I have an amazing, powerful action I take, and then the outcome is amazing and powerful, my internal environment is like, oh, man, I feel great. Look at me. I'm cool. I'm doing great, right? If I take an action that's halfway and the outcome's halfway, well, then my internal environment's like, oh, man, that feels bad. Right. And on top of that, I create an external environment, right? If I'm joyous and happy and in a great mood, my external environment is I got great friends, part of a great community like GrowthDay. I get to go do cool, amazing things, right? And at the same capacity, maybe I make more money. Maybe I have more time, and maybe I have a better house and I take more trips, right? My external environment is better because of the action I took that had a better outcome, that gives me a different environment of how I feel inside and what I see outside. And what you have environmentally, it creates your anchors.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.